God, the solution to male loneliness is a battle pass. Male loneliness seems to be rampant, and it has become the topic of discussion for many news outlets. So I figured to throw my hat into the ring and discuss it. Keep in mind, although this topic is impacting males in particular, a lot of what I'm about to say can apply to loneliness in general. Although it may not impact men and women exactly the same way, I think there's a lot of overlap. Loneliness is an important issue for liberal enthusiasts because, as Hannah Arendt says, what prepares men for totalitarian domination in the non-totalitarian world is the fact that loneliness, once a borderline experience usually suffered in certain marginal social conditions like old age, has become an everyday experience. Okay, where to start? Admittedly, this is a hard question to answer, which is why I suggest we start with a concept I like to call paradox of liberal prosperity. The idea is inspired by the Japanese philosopher Masahiro Morioka's painless civilization thesis, which, in very basic terms, argues that in contemporary world, we have the tendency of trying to eliminate pain as much as possible. But in our pursuit of a painless world, we sacrifice part of our joy in favor of comfort and leisure. Liberalism and liberal economic policies have helped us to get access to more stuff, but getting access to more stuff doesn't mean you get more stuff. You see, there is no such a thing as a free lunch. Every good thing has a drawback. By having more access to things, people want to have more things to enjoy, and to do that, they need to work more. But if you work more, then who's going to take care of other things? Like, for example, if you're working 10 hours a day, you have no time to cook anymore, even though you need to eat. Not me though, I'm too deep, but you do. Well, fear not, because capitalism is here to provide the answer. If you're working more and have no time to cook, then capitalism will provide you access to restaurants with great delicious food to indulge in. But ordering out every day isn't cheap, so now you need to work more. But when you work more, you will run out of energy quicker, which means now you'll need to invest in a stock of energy drinks, which is going to cost more, and I think you get the picture. With access to more stuff, we want to have more stuff, but the more we want, the more expensive everything starts to become, not just monetarily, but also time-wise. So you have to work more. The more you work, the less time you have to dedicate to other aspects of your life, like socializing and making friends or forming meaningful bonds. Now I know what you're thinking. So capitalism is a problem. Human before profit. Carl, buddy, where are you at? Well, that is completely wrong. Marxism, communism, and socialism all will fall to the same problem because the problem runs deeper than just capitalism. The problem of loneliness is not actually related to productivity. Now you're thinking, it's the social media that is the problem. Think about it. You said, oh, you fantastic professor, that with access to more stuff, we want more stuff. So wouldn't that mean social media, which constantly shows us what we could have, is the problem? Nope. Even with social media, the problem of loneliness, especially for men, would have persisted because having more stuff on its own is not what motivates men or people in general. A PS5 on its own doesn't mean anything, but many, despite having less time to use it, still want it. I bet if you looked around your house, you will see a bunch of stuff you don't use, and that is because there's something that motivates us to have all this crap we don't really need but want. So what is that something? The answer, I believe, is efficiency. More stuff equals you being more efficient. And in a society where efficiency is the standard by which we value each other, having more stuff means you are more valuable because you're more efficient. Marry that to our desire for independence from others, and we will get a cake made of solid loneliness. Think about it. You work more for money to spend on things like food delivery, to save time so you can work more, to make more money, to spend on things that save you more time, to work more, and this is not just something that impacts individuals' working habits, but is rather a perspective from which to view the world. Robots are replacing people in factories because they are more efficient. Despite dating apps being generally disliked by people, we still use them because they are more efficient. People don't read as much and instead spend time on YouTube because it is a more efficient way of getting information. Heck, some people don't even watch YouTube anymore, but TikTok because you can view more stuff quicker. i.e., more efficiently. Efficiency is literally everywhere because it's in our minds, man. I'm not kidding. Efficiency is not just something you do, but a state of mind which forces you and everyone around you to view everything from this lens, making you more and more lonely. Men are especially subject to this because historically, men were the breadwinner of the household, so they were in the front line of making things as efficient as possible. But there is a ceiling to how efficient things can get. You can make your work more efficient by moving away from small carpentry shop into a factory, then automate the factory, then introduce AIs to run the factory, and then, well, at some point, things have become as efficient as they can possibly be. Sure, new opportunities can open up, but they will be subject to the same exact problem because efficiency is not just a thing we do, but a way we view the world and value things in the world. The more we work, the more obsolete we become, which means we now have to work harder, which means we will have to ignore other necessary skills needed for prosperity, like proper communication. In fact, if we perceive a desired skill as inefficient, we might just flat out ignore it in favor of a skill that can make us more efficient in order for us to climb the hierarchy of efficiency faster. This applies to women as well, of course, but it manifests differently for them. You're now thinking, so it's society's fault then? Well, society is made up of parts, and we are those parts, which brings us to how we can fix this. It might seem like an unsatisfactory answer, but I believe the solution lies in us changing our mindsets. The ancient Greeks have an interesting perspective. They thought that life requires both motion and rest. Constant rest produces stagnation, and constant motion produces fatigue. We have been in a society that values constant motion for a very long time. We have been viewing life in terms of constant struggle, which means we always want to climb this ladder of efficiency by having more things. With liberal individualism and expansion of capitalism, we now have too much stuff to get in order to climb this ladder, so we are crushing ourselves under its weight. It's time to introduce some rest into our lives. Instead of constantly focusing on how to be efficient, try to sit down in a room and make a list of what you think will bring you joy, not just pleasure. I recently got a chance to watch the first episode of anime called Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead. The episode perfectly encapsulates what I am trying to say, as the main character has become lonely and empty inside, but once he changed his perspective, he became free and happy. It just took the end of the world for him to realize it, which shows how powerful of a grasp this mindset can have on us. So, stop and smell the roses, dear viewer, before the zombie apocalypse is upon us.